Hi, Griff Hamlin here. In today's lesson, I want to talk to you about bar chords and a way that I've kind of come across actually to get started with bar chords that seems to really help in getting the bar actually happening and actually working. It seems like what I've noticed is that the problem is not with the bar. The problem is in placing the second, third, and fourth fingers after you've put the bar down. And what I found is that if we actually do things in reverse order and place the second, third, and fourth fingers first, and then add the bar, and don't worry so much about whether or not the top strings actually come out, at least at first, that I get better results from it. So I wanted to kind of basically give you a little something to practice on with this that I hope will really make it easier to transition into getting the bar chords and getting them to sound good. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start with what would be a regular, what's commonly called an E shape or a root on the sixth string bar chord, a major chord. Now that chord looks like this when you're done with it, and I've got my first finger barred across all 6 strings on the 3rd fret. Now that in and of itself will strike fear into the hearts of most beginners, so we're going to break it down substantially. In fact, we're going to forget all about the bar for the moment. And what I want you to do is actually start with your middle finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Once you've done that, place your 3rd finger on the 5th string, 5th fret, and then your pinky right behind it on the 4th string, 5th fret. Okay, and with all of these notes, I want to get them as close as I can get them to the fret without actually being on top of the fret. So in the case of the pinky, I can feel my fret under my finger, barely. And the same thing with my middle finger. But with my 3rd finger here, I can't, obviously, because my pinky's in the way. Now once I've done this, I've now got a finger on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. So what I'm going to do is with my pick, I'm going to pick each one of those strings and make sure that I can hear them before I move on, and that they're all clean. If they're not, you need to be able to do that first. So the problem may be that you're not getting those fingers placed properly. And in many cases, I'm finding that to be true. So make sure that you can do that first. Now, once you can, you'll see how my thumb is pointed what would be up. When I rotate my guitar, my thumb is still pointing up. You can kind of barely see it there. That's really, really important. And if you find that yours is kind of out like to the side like this, then you have a real problem. And there's no way that bar is ever going to go into place. So it's really important that I can drop my wrist and allow my thumb to be pointing straight up at the ceiling. Now, if you can't, it may be that your guitar is not high enough. It may be that your knee is not higher than your hip. That may require a shorter chair, or it may require a footstool of some sort underneath your foot. But you need to get the knee a good maybe 3 or 4 inches higher than your hip. And if you do that, this will be a lot easier because it'll bring the whole guitar up and it'll allow your hand to get under it. I mean, if I lift my guitar up like this, now it's super easy to have my wrist drop. It's a little hard to hold the guitar that way though. So if you can get your leg up, it helps a lot. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my first finger here down to the 3rd fret of the 6th string. Not so much on the tip, a little bit more on the flat part of my finger. Okay, so now I should have 4 notes: the 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. And you'll have to fiddle around a little bit with the placement on that first finger to get it to come out nice and solid. Now at this point, the 2nd and 1st strings should just clunk. If they don't, if they ring out, if you're actually pushing on them, that's awesome. If they're open, that's not good. In which case you want to rotate your hand a little bit and get them to go clunk. So now I have 6th string, 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string. Now if you can play that, that in and of itself will make the sound of the chord. You don't have to get the top two strings. You'll get the sound of the chord from just this without doing a bar anywhere at all. So I think that's important to recognize. And the other trick to this is playing the notes one at a time and listening and making sure they all come out. A lot of times what happens is the third string vibrates against the pinky. If you're not on the tip of your pinky, you might actually feel that third string vibrate against your pinky, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, so once you've got this chord, all you kind of have to do is just move it around a little bit. And so what I like to do is go from I'm going to call out the frets by where my first finger falls. So right now it's on the 3rd fret, which is a G, and then I move it up to the 7th fret, which is a B, and then to the C, which is the 8th fret, and then to A, which is at the 5th fret. So you get something like this. And I am thinking about a beat here. It's about this fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you can do that, and you can do that very comfortably, and do it without making too many mistakes and getting the notes to all come out cleanly, it's really not too much trouble to just take that first finger now and push down a little bit on the knuckle. Because what'll happen is, in order to get those first 4 notes, you have to place your fingers correctly. So the fingers are all placed, everything's where it needs to go. It's just kind of a matter at that point of fine-tuning some details. So it's really not that hard. Now, one more thing you can do with this same shape is you can actually move it up to the next string. In fact, if you go down a fret, you get a B minor. Now what I'm doing is I've taken the exact same shape, but just shifted everything by 1 string. So now I've got my first finger is on the 5th string, and then my other fingers are on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Now it creates a minor chord now that the root note down here is on the 5th string. So when I've done that, it's a minor chord. So now I can do like a G to a B minor to an A, for example, and then a G. And in reality, between those 2 chord shapes, you can play actually a ton of songs. That gives you every single major and minor chord there is. So if you know your root notes on the 6th string, you know, G, A, B, C, or, you know, B flat, A flat, G sharp, you know, whatever they happen to be, you can move this chord around. So there's actually an enormous amount of chords. And then if you need minor, you just do them up here. So for example, that's E minor, D minor, C minor, B minor. Now my first finger on these chords just kind of mutes out the top string. But you can get a lot of mileage just out of that one shape, you know, moving it between the 2 string sets. And it really sets you up well for being able to play bar chords down the road and actually getting those top notes to come out. So if you can do it this way, I found that it's really not too much of a stretch to continue, you know, just play around with that first finger until the top note can come out or the top couple of notes can come out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and talk to you soon.